Do we know what war can do to people's lives? It changes them, big time. Even if the war happened a century ago, it can still affect people today. The war that affected Europe and me the most was World War II. I was born in Europe, Finland to be exact. But how could a war that happened 70 years ago affect me now? Well, during World War II, Finland was in a war with Russia. Well, of course, the war ended with a treaty, but Finland had part of their land taken away. Now I believe many Russian people and many Finnish people do not get along together. And I believe the reason for that is because both sides lost homes and loved ones in the war. Now today I'm going to find out if the war also affected European relationships with Americans and how it affected Europe and its culture.
Well, as a European, I know that there's actually no such thing as European. There's French, there's Swedish, there's Finnish, there's German. Every country, every nationality is completely different. They all have positive and negative traits, but definitely, the effects of the war are still present today.
Think of my life and friends I have at Design 39 campus. We have a lot of different cultures. There are Indians, Asians, Europeans, and others who are all multicultural and have different perspectives.
Well, as a European, I think every single European country has some really great positive traits. Like French are relaxed and they drink wine during their lunch, and German are super efficient, and Dutch are tall and funny, and Swedish are kind and humble nationalities.
The positives, I feel as though European people appreciate life more than American people. Because they relax more, they have siestas in the middle of the day, and I know that they're more concerned with well-being for their life and their health.
Many of my friends enjoy different lifestyles, just like Europeans. It's really cool because all the different personalities make up our campus's culture. It's very different than other schools around the world who may not have these cultures. Interacting with different cultures gives me a different view of the world around me.
How do I think Second World War affected Europe and its culture? First of all, I think it's important to understand that there is no one culture in Europe. Every country has an own culture, and Second World War affected quite a lot in the European culture, in that sense that after the war there was a Eastern Bloc, and those countries were forced to adapt the communism system and basically forget their own culture, and then the Western system, they were able to keep their own culture. So that was probably the biggest change in cultures. And of course, the countries most affected by the Second World War was the countries who were forced to go to the Eastern Bloc. But thank God, after a long period of time, in '89, the Berlin Wall was teared down, and that opened the Europe again. And then pretty soon after that, in mid-90s, European Union was established, which really boosted up the whole European thing.
I believe today we have figured out the answer to those two questions. Americans do not see the difference between European countries, and wars do affect European culture, since the Eastern Bloc lost their culture and their language. And this project really helped me understand my roots better and figure out who I really am.